place for radiant wellness and soul-forward living. Join your host, Jess Juntunen, quantum healer, intuitive, and midwife to the awakening spirit, as we dive into quantum tools, wisdom teachings, and integrated healing pathways for transformation. You can live a life of freedom to be without limitation. Cozy up, grab your tea, and enjoy this hour of expansion, wisdom, and love. Namaste, hello, and welcome to Soul Fusion Cafe. I'm Jess Juntunen, your host today, and very grateful to be with you on another Tuesday lunchtime. We are here every Tuesday at noon Eastern to connect, to be, to radiate, to glow, and step forward further into the truth of our being. I love this space. I love Oneness Talk Radio. Please like and subscribe to Oneness Talk Radio on YouTube. And those of you there at Facebook, loving you too. Make sure you're liking the Facebook page as well and sharing, and please do share and subscribe over on the Oneness Talk Radio YouTube. Send that around to those you know. There's so many beautiful shows and hosts here, and every Sunday now, Shri and Kira Live is featured and hosted here at Oneness Talk Radio. Please go check out that last episode. Big moment because it's August. This is our August show, and anything I'm sharing that resonates, I do encourage you check out Shri and Kira's show because they really go into depth. Join us for the Lionsgate 8-8 that's coming up on Monday evening. Another opportunity to dive into, practice, expand, and grow. So, today, all about the choice moment we're sitting in front of. The one that we've already really made, but you can keep choosing again. You can always choose again. But it is the moment of really stepping forward into your mastery, into your true self. And what does that mean? To really be in your mastery presence. We talk about that word mastery and master a lot. And to the ego and the mind, mastery can feel like something you have to be the master of, the controller of, which is not inaccurate, right? But to really elevate into that ascended perspective that it's the master within, the one that really is driving the bus, that's in control, is who we are cultivating a connection with, so that our personality, so that our ego will feel safe enough to allow that master to have the control of the bus, right? It's that beautiful analogy of who's driving that bus. Is it the ego, which is just like giving a child the steering wheel and saying, go for it? And that is what most of the world is doing right now. Or is it that mastery presence within, that is the guiding, that is there shepherding us and allowing our ego to come into a trust with it? Because that's really the key, is relaxing the ego enough so it feels safe, so it feels like it is able to hand over that control. It's not going to try to keep driving. It's going to say, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful you're here so I can take a break. But until the ego feels safe, and this happens in layers, we do our work and then all of a sudden we find ourselves back repeating, doing something again, going, I thought I already did this. Our ego gets active again and tries to take control of the steering wheel. So it's a process, beloved ones. It really is. We never get to that point where the ego is not going to try to engage while we're here in this beautiful body of form. It's part of the dance. It's part of the mastery. Every time you say yes to your mastery presence, every time you say yes to you and relax, the ego relaxes a little more, and it does get easier. It doesn't feel like you're fighting with it. If you feel like you're fighting with it, It's because your ego is overly engaged. So, excuse me. What can you do to help your ego to stay safe, to feel safe, seen, heard, loved? Um, I'm looking for a graphic on the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening that I feel like really encapsulates much of what we're all navigating through right now, if it will cooperate with me, because all humanity is going through an up level experience. All humanity is experiencing on some level this inner conflict, this wanting to step out and step through, and the ego coming up and trying to stop that. It's, and everybody in their way is experiencing that. And some beings have just totally said, hey, ego, you go ahead and drive. Or they didn't even really consciously know they did that, but they've turned and given all power to that ego, to that one that is, um, driving the bus. um, and oh, funny, some funny pictures showed up. Um, let's see. Ah, there it is. Okay. This Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening, I'm going to see if I can make it a shareable size. Um, really shows what people are going through right now. It really demonstrates that. So I'm going to let my restream hopefully connect me to my share screen for you. Yay. All right. So right now you are seeing, yes, the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening. And this is really a beautiful example of it because there's many versions of this graphic out there, but this one is including, this came to us during core, during the lineage holders, one of the first gatherings we had. And these concentric rings are an overlay of some incredible crop circles that had appeared overlaid on top of this pyramid. And these circles, in their energetic form, are very much holding a portal. And you can see, if you allow yourself to go into that portal, and you're seeing the ascension consciousness at the top. So this Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening is so revelatory, and helpful for the mind. I find it very helpful to gaze at this because it's a reminder and a connection. So that bottom, there's like 4 tiers in the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening, and density consciousness. That's where we're all born into. That's where we all reside when we come here. Nobody's exempt. As a baby, we forget everything when we come through the veil. Well, some of us retain some memory, and more of the young ones are retaining more. However, no one's exempt from having an ego and having to learn how to manage that. And density consciousness is the ego. It's all ego focus. It's like me, me, me. It's about this personality, who I think I am. I need to have my needs met. Um, and it's very centered in orientation of victim consciousness. There's got to be, something wrong. There's got to be a way to be saved or to save someone. It's the whole drama of everything, the playground of density, that place that we all play in like children, right? There's the slides, the swings, there's every single way that you can play here. And you cannot play your way off the game board, as wisdom teacher Sri Ramka shares. You can't get off the game board. You can't just win and be done. You have to actually lift through and up in order to get off the game board. And a real big key way to doing that is to, be the witness, to be the one that is gazing at and looking down at everything that is. Let's see if I can share that one. Um, the witness is the way to lift off of that game board. That is the way that we, in fact, um, can ascend and stop playing in the drama of density. Is to, and this beautiful graphic was created by Master Lady Kira Ra to demonstrate that the fifth dimension is that witnesser that is gazing and loving the experience that the one in form is having, that one in density is having, so it is pretty powerful to remember and engage that witnessing aspect of ourselves. That's the way to lift up and off this game board. And the spiritual activism is that next realm of the pyramid. And this is like the fattest realm right now. This is the biggest one. This is where almost everybody is right now. Like once we move through density consciousness, we lift, we move up the spiritual pyramid of awakening. We open to an aspect that there's a bigger sense of self than just me. There's a collective. And in this collective is the energy of ego still. It's spiritual activism. There's a sense of I'm right, you're wrong. And it collects around a group think. So it's we are right, you are wrong. And this can take place around the realms of spirit, religion, politics, anything really where there's an organized energy of beings that feel a sense of righteousness, and it's still very entangled in that victim triangle energy. In fact, I think I have that one up that I could share too. Another incredible graphic created by wisdom teacher Shuram Khan, Master Lady Kira Ra, that demonstrates this is where the majority of the planet is, and this is what's so rich in that part of the spiritual pyramid. So I mean, we're here in August and there's a choice. Well, the choice is to step out of any doubt or fear, or to dive deeply into it. That's the big choice in front of humanity and each of us individually. Excuse me. And this graphic shows very clearly the fear, doubt, and hesitancy that combines with the victim, rescuer, abuser. The victim, rescuer, abuser is the victim triangle that we're all born into, like think Thanksgiving or a holiday dinner with family, and that's where you really see this play out, right? You've got the auntie that's the victim of everything, right? Or whoever. And you've got the one that's the rescuer and wants to save everybody, and maybe that's you. You've got the abuser, the one that deals out the criticisms and the abuse. And you have this circle that goes on, and you can see, like, we are so good at playing this game in our own heads. Like, this is where we really have to step out. Like, how often in your own mind, your own way, are you being extra hard on yourself and allowing yourself to feel like you're the victim of the circumstances around you? Or that you've got to dive in and rescue somebody? Or that, you're the abuser often of your own self? And we've all caused pain or abuse of others. And if we do, and we have done, do we beat ourselves up and further perpetuate the cycle within our own self? Or can we break free and lift? Right. And this is the cycle of self sabotage, that this is so beautifully demonstrating. Again, this is Sri and Kira. And if you've never tuned in with them, please do check out their show at Oneness Talk Radio. Sri and Kira live every Sunday at noon, and the recordings are up. And just really be with this for a moment, because the fear, doubt, hesitancy is what keeps us trapped in that loop. It keeps us sustaining this cycle that keeps going and going. It propels us in the Merkaba of density consciousness. So we have a Merkaba that can lift us out of this, and we have a Merkaba that can hold us deeply entrapped. And that's where most of the world is right now, right? And it goes back to the incredible graphic we started with, this pyramid of spiritual awakening, right? So that spiritual activism, that's like, that is that self-sabotage cycle, and the victim consciousness is so strong. And I've been with groups of beings that are very, very well intentioned and want to create peace on earth. And we think, how can that kind of activism, be quote unquote bad? Well, it is not bad because all energy is neutral and we're in the sea of neutrality. We condition it with our own thoughts. But that aside, the energy is so strong around that victim consciousness. So while there are beings that are so dedicated to peace for our planet and upliftment, when it comes from an energy of spiritual activism, it's still saying, our way is the right way towards peace. We know the answer, and your way is the wrong way. And we have to tell people about it, and we have to show them the right way or convince them, right? So there's this very much a judgment energy that comes in, and the fear is so prevalent because it's like, if we don't change, our planet will be no longer. We need peace, right? So it comes from this, you know good intent, but it's bred in fear. It's bred in from fear, and therefore it's really entrapped in that cycle. So this is like so fascinating, and I like to remind myself and us, whoever you are tuning in, that this is the case. This is where the majority of the planet is. And when you end up finding yourself dip down in there, have mercy on yourself. Have real mercy on yourself, because it is magnetic. It's got a tractor field around it. So if you are carrying doubts or fears within yourself that you have not cleared, it's going to pull you into that tractor beam, and you're going to find yourself dipping into that spiritual activism and that density consciousness. And then when you spend there, the harder it feels to lift again, and you almost forget, right? It's like the pit of despair, right? Just go down in it, and it's very hard to climb back out when you get entrenched there, once you find yourself being really stuck and rooted. But you can break free in 1 second. And you see the beautiful light that's coming up through this graphic, it, and bringing us into ascension awareness, right? And see these big swooshing circles and this like bowl that's created here. This is important to know, because eh, as we are learning these concepts with our brain and our mind, and saying, oh gosh, yeah, I see it, it makes sense, I understand this concept. Our brain, we do need to have that understanding for it to relax, so our ego can relax, so our soul can come forward. But remembering that this all those beings that are sitting in density consciousness and that are riding on top of that in their spiritual activism, right? There is this basket that's created, and it is actually a stability in a way for this liftoff into ascension awareness and consciousness. Without density doing what it does so well, we don't have the propelling factor for those of us that lift up. And that really keeps me humble, honestly, and in gratitude, because it can be funny how quickly we might judge density, and judge those that are so stuck in it. We could say, how is that person doing X, Y, or Z? You know, and that's usually what we tell ourselves, right? When we dip, we go, how could I forget? How could I like not have known better, right? So It's like that, forgive them and ourselves. We know now what we do sometimes, right? And that density consciousness, though, is the propellant. It is what helps us to do our lifting. So without that polarity present, we can't lift. So there's that gratitude, and those that are holding that presence. There are going to be those that just stay rooted in density consciousness, and that's okay. It's a judgment on our part to think we have to change them. We don't have to have everybody awaken simultaneously. In fact, we can't. This is, it's like you yourself cannot wake up all fully in one go, or your mind would go insane, right? Like, we have to do things in layers. That's why healing happens in layers. So, there's that propulsion that comes from this basket that you're seeing at the bottom, and the portals that guide you up, and the lift into ascension awareness really comes from uh gratitude. It's to break the fear cycle, which becomes anger, and becomes hate. Fear and anger is hate, right? That just lives and breathes in that um spiritual activism layer of of that pyramid of spiritual awakening. So it's like, to have gratitude for the grit, for the experience, for whatever's in front of you, is what helps and assists you to pop through into that ascension consciousness, or awareness. Forgive me. The ascension consciousness is when we get to that point where we're so aware the majority of our time, and we're really, remember the witnessing graphic we popped up earlier? It's like you're so aware that nothing shakes you. You're so connected, eyes on the divine, and you know the truth of your being, that it's very difficult for density to grab onto or pull you. When you're in ascension awareness, it still can be a yo-yo, you know? Um, Things trigger us, you get pulled down. That's the mastery moment, right? And to lift is just to be that witness. It's just to gaze at and look at what is happening. And as soon as you engage that witnessing energy of love and compassion around yourself and others, the faster the lift. And if you can get to that gratitude place, even if you in the moment don't particularly feel grateful for an experience you're going through, I have those moments where I'm just like, even though I'm very aware, I'm not enjoying the experience I'm going through, and feeling my own victim consciousness triggered, perhaps, and just feeling my feelings. And sometimes it's not like you can just spiritual bypass, that can be really toxic too, to just say, well, everything's perfect. It all happens for a reason, blah, blah, blah. That's shoving down and not acknowledging or allowing those feelings to be. Uh, yeah, I mean, in the end, things are all perfect, but that's a trap. That's a trap too of the ego. So to really look again, to really be with, and notice. So when we are finding ourselves caught up in that moment, or getting caught up, when we bring forward a practice, when we lift, um, then we anchor our mastery evermore, and we stay. It's like you stay longer and longer, and it gets easier and easier to stay in those higher levels of consciousness. And the gratitude, if you're not feeling it in the moment, like I was saying, it's like you can just be angry about it, but thank you. I know there is a friggin' gift here. I know I'll see it later. I don't see it now. Show me it when I'm ready, or I'll do my best to be ready, but I'm mad, but I know. Thank you. You know, like, honestly, you will start shifting the pattern the second you just even say, I don't even know why I'm grateful yet, but I know I will be. I know I will be grateful. And I know this will become clear, right? So the gratitude is always the lifting device, and finding the gratitude in the hardest of things. This can take a process. Again, it's not like spiritual bypass, it's like not like when someone passes away and people just try to like calm you down with, he's in a better place. And that's just not what you want to hear in that moment, right? It's the same thing in the moment we're having like a heated, expansionary feeling inside of us. We don't necessarily just, oh, well, be grateful. There's a blessing, honor the feelings. And that's why I love the safe practice. The safe practice is so powerful and so life altering. This practice, when I learned it, I was in it all the time. In fact, sometimes I miss that beginner's mind a lot because I applied the practices and things because I needed them so much. And then we get to a point where we kind of sometimes hit a plateau and we say these practices don't feel as potent or powerful. Well, your ego's not as engaged and going, wow, at the same time with the practices. And you're more anchored and centered and you're not feeling the emotional like relief or joy. You're in a state of being and connecting more with that kind of joy. And that's a very interesting transition to make and note, but it happens. Like it's things don't always feel as new and shiny as when you start your spiritual journey, and then the practices don't feel like you're doing them because it's just like necessity, or then something happens in your life and you're like, oh, I better do them again, right? It's actually like, how do you be consistent and do them when you're actually feeling pretty all right, but maybe you're not feeling like your shiniest, but we kind of negate doing the practices then. But this practice is incredible always to come back to in all moments. And like I was sharing in the one of my grander awakenings in my journey, I feel like many of you, I've always been quite awake. I was a very awake child who had to shut it all down to maintain a level of safety and conformity for this planet. And I reawoke a few times, and I always was kind of definitely present in ways I knew a lot of people weren't, like many of you. But on my one of my bigger, I've had several moments of really big reawakenings in my journey. And one of the grandest ones really was that 11 years ago. And I did Navigating the Inner Matrix. Do Navigating the Inner Matrix. Take that course. It's life changing. So I was doing, and go to shrinkara.com to get it. And I'm a coach if you want to coach. I love Navigating the Inner Matrix. So yeah, little plug. But yeah, the practice that came through in there, safe. AFE, I'm safe. And I'm going to do this one with you right now because I think it's so powerful for this moment as we're sitting in this August. We're coming to Lion's Gate. Then we have a full moon. We're still in the energy of the new moon. We just arrived in August. It's intense. This is nothing we have ever experienced before on this planet. Remember that. Have mercy on yourself. We're doing something we've ever done before. So you're doing awesome. So the safe practice, if you are feeling triggered, if you are feeling like, oh my God, I'm super angry or I'm hurt or I don't even know what's going on. But when you identify that you are not in the energy of a peace, a love, a joy, if those aren't present in your experience, some life script inside of you is being triggered. Some life script that tells you I'm not good enough or I deserve to be punished or all that bullshit, right? So the first kickoff, or I guess notification, is that you're aware that you're not feeling peace, love, or joy. You're feeling angry or sad or meh or frustrated. You don't know, but you're not feeling peace, love, and joy. And when you identify that, you're already lifting into the fifth dimension. You're already moving up there. So as soon as you identify, hand to heart, or both hands, safe acronym, the first letter S, stop. You've noticed you're having a reaction, you're not in your presence. Stop, hand to heart. So just stop. The act of putting our hand to our heart automatically moves the thoughts from our brain to the presence of our heart. And it can take a few breaths to get there, but it will disconnect the brain from being in control and bring our awareness back to our heart. And that is where all healing starts, begins, and our ascension. So, right, stop. I've noticed, I'm triggered, I've noticed something. Stop, hand to heart. The A is for awareness. Awareness. And when you become aware, I'm aware that I'm stuck. I'm aware that my ego is winning. I'm swimming in the river of the ego right now, and I'm trying to cling to the side. I'm trying to paddle across. I'm stuck. So it's acknowledging. Okay, I acknowledge I am in the trap of my ego. I acknowledge I'm in the river swimming with my ego, struggling. F, SAFE, right? F, feel. Feel. Let yourself feel the emotion, the sensation. We're not going to drown in it and stay there forever, but identifying and feeling where it's coming from. I feel it. And then the E is for expand. Expand through. So maybe it's an Avesa breath. If you don't know the Avesa breath, learn it. Go get the free Avesa breath practitioner training. Bring your hand to your heart. Connect. You can learn it right now. Breathing in the Ave heartbeat. That is the connection. I am. Breathing out. Breathing in Ave. Exhaling. I am the divine empowerment within. Doing that breath can bring you into the expansion, or lifting into your witnessing, and just feel yourself gazing down and witnessing. Allow your auric field to stretch. What's a practice that helps you feel expansive? And then come back to the trigger and notice, does it feel like it's still there? Maybe it's released. Maybe you need to do another round of safe again. You might do it a few times, because you may find that you'll find there's layers. Like whatever you were initially feeling feels like you got some relief, but there's something else under the surface. And just viewing it like a curiosity, like, hey, I'm curious. I'm curious about what I'm experiencing versus judging it, is the way to be. And then beautiful. I'm seeing just some beautiful chat over at Facebook and YouTube. I'm grateful you caught me live as well, Angel. So beautiful. Hi, Pauline. Angel's talking about a lot of ear ringing this week and was asking if others experience that. No, that is one that is intermittent for me, but definitely that's one of those ascension symptoms, and it's a moment to pay attention. There's a message coming in or being relayed, or maybe you're doing a clearing, and get really present. But boy, am I noticing a lot of fascinating symptoms this last week. Oh, I love that you wrote a post about the soul and heart driving the bus, Angel. That's so beautiful. Beautiful. Pauline, I'm so grateful that was the first time you saw the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening in that form. That was created by Shri and Kira several years ago. But yeah, one of those really beautiful examples. Yeah, so many beautiful sharings. Yeah, thanking myself for noticing is a great way to help me lift, shares Angel. I agree. Just acknowledging that you are noticing and aware will facilitate a lift. And if you're thinking about redoing NIM again, yes, redo it. I love navigating the inner matrix. I don't know how many times, I can't even count, that I have done that course, or just pulled it open to read and reconnect with. And hey, Jill, I see you popping in. Definitely come and watch the replay. It's beautiful to have you here. So many beautiful ways that we can lift and experience and see together. and bring that mercy and compassion to our own selves, but to others as well. It's that moment of like judgment is at an all-time, when we looked at the graphic earlier of the pyramid of spiritual awakening, and you think of all the beings that are entrapped in that spiritual activism stage, it's it's so rich and it's so full of judgment. That's the currency on the planet, fear and judgment. And judgment is fear with an attitude, as Archangel Zadkiel says. Judgment's fear with an attitude. I think that one came from navigating the inner matrix as well. It's like people judge because they're afraid. And there's just so very anything you're doing to lift, anything you're doing to pop out, anything you're doing to anchor your consciousness in that ascended I am presence with the connection to the master and truth that you are. Every time you make that choice, you are making a major, huge impact in your own self and for others. You're carrying that torch, you're holding it so that others may see that as well and they may remember and ignite theirs. And like we shared, we don't need everyone to do it at once. It can't all happen at once. But at the same time, it will be like the blink because time is an illusion, right? But enough of us holding conscious presence and awakening, enough of us being together really, really makes a difference. Thank you to everyone that took part in lineage holders and those journeys. You can still grab the recordings of those if you were not there live and contribute your energy to this, all beings and timelines. Those were very important time jumps and meditations. Go to shrinkira.com and the products, and you will find the global meditation that was July 13th and 28th and be able to participate in that. And then this Monday upcoming, we have Mastery Presence Monday that starts on 8/8 the Lion's Gate. This 8/8 the Lion's Gate is 2 years since WWA, Women Wellness Awakenings, those of you that have been around long enough to know. And that's very much where I started this new trajectory of my journey. So it's been 2 years to really mark me coming forward in a bigger way than I already had said yes. Because, boy, when we say yes, if we knew everything we were saying yes to, we probably wouldn't say yes as need to know basis by the archangelic realm. Thank goodness, right? But yeah, it's been 2 years since Women Wellness Awakenings, the Lion's Gate ignited and the divine feminine came flooding back into the planet. And now here we are about to hit 8/8 the Lion's Gate 2 years later. And things really have up leveled and shifted and grown. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be absolutely beyond amazing and stunning to witness what happens on the earth next. And your yes just matters. It matters. It matters so much. There's nothing that can stop us when we decide together to come together in peace, when we come together in unity, when we come together with a common goal. That is the essence of global Minga. That's what global Minga is to come together with a common goal, a shared dream, something that we all desire to see manifest. And, I pray really that, you come together with us this Monday on the Lions Gate. Go to Sri and Kira, get registered, or, it's going to be the inaugural broadcast. It's going to be free. However, if you register, you'll get the recording and you can be in that Zoom. And then, hey, here, September equinox. If you haven't registered yet, the registration is going live today. It may be live even while we are talking, but any moment now you can read virtual event for $12 and catch all the live streams and get your recording. Or there is room to come with us. We have an additional hotel that is beautiful, that is nearby, where we're going to shuttle people back and forth, and you can be in ceremony The peace pyramid is going to be consecrated. The amount of work that has gone into this, what's happening, is incredible. And it really is carrying a frequency for consciousness. And there's going to be music and presentations and ceremony, and the grandmothers are coming from the Amazon. So much is happening. I will be there. I would love to be there with you. So here's a little preemptive, go check it out, shriankira.com, and grab your registration, get in there, and mark your calendar. Mark your calendar. It's going to be incredible. So I love you all. Thank you. I see the love in the chat. I feel you. I thank you for being here and saying yes. And I'll keep saying yes if you keep saying yes. Is that a deal? That's a deal. All right, everyone. I love you so much. I am sending you off with just all my heart, prayers for an incredible day, week ahead. Stay tuned. I'll be on Sunday on Shri and Kira Live. Shri and I will be doing a show together, and on Monday at Mastery Presence Monday, and then back here on Tuesday. So lots of opportunities to catch up between now and then. Thanks for hanging out. Love you all so much, and have a great. You've been listening to Soul Fusion Cafe with Jess Juntunen. Connect with Jess and learn more at her inspiration hub, selfascensionstudios.com, and over on Instagram at JoyLoveJess and Soul Fusion Cafe Radio, or over at Facebook at Self-Ascension Studios and Soul Fusion Cafe Radio. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Namaste and many blessings.